It's Monday, August 18th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. The Annapolis County wildfire grows while the Miramichi fire is contained. Maritime passengers express confusion and concern over Air Canada flights.
Brisk for an August night. In fact, we have a frost advisory out for parts of northern New Brunswick.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. As we come on the air tonight, we have learned that a campground is being evacuated because of the Long Lake fires in Annapolis County. Now, that was ordered as a precautionary measure as the wildfire continues to grow, now over 30 square kilometers in size. Crews and air support from outside Nova Scotia are fighting the flames. CTV's Callum Smith is in the area and has the latest.
These sights and sirens are becoming all too common in Nova Scotia's Annapolis County, but people are grateful to see crews taking on the tall task ahead of them.
Couldn't be doing a better job, and I tell you, there's a lot of brave, hard-working people putting a lot of effort into it.
As Rob Howie works on vehicles, he and his family are safe, so his mind is on his home.
The fire's pretty close to it, but I got no official word on anything yet. We're hoping to hear some updates today sometime.
Officials say no homes have been lost, but the same can't be said for some campers and trailers.
They were putting sprinklers up on our house, and then right after that, they were spraying the big fire hose over everything to get it wet.
Cindy and Dion Schofield know the fire was close to their home, too.
We were fortunate we had cameras on the house for a bit, so we got to see really what was going on.
Up until a day ago when they cut the power off for the safety.
We're doing whatever we can to protect structures that are in the path of fire and protect people and property. Our teams spent a good part of the weekend setting up preventative measures where they could.
The Premier also thankful for efforts of first responders, some from as far away as the Northwest Territories. And while the wildfire poses possible devastation for anyone involved, it feels like there's more at stake for the Schofields.
We live on disability, so it's limited income, not able to get house insurance because we heat with wood because that's the most efficient and economical way to do it. So, you know, if it's gone, it's gone. We're not getting any of it back.
The county's deputy warden hearing from some of the evacuees himself.
You can tell that they're stressed. There was some tears, there was things, but there was also positivity around the fact that there's people that are helping them.
He wants people to know the local community college is open for evacuees with food, shelter, and Wi-Fi at no cost. Conditions have been changing. Today is a bit cooler, but the wind is certainly still a factor. The rainfall last night certainly helped a bit, but not enough for a long, sustained period of time, which is certainly what's needed here. As for the evacuees, as you can tell from the Schofields, they're just hoping to get back home safely soon. Todd.
Certainly hope they do. Callum Smith near West Dalhousie, Nova Scotia this evening. Now, dozens of wildfires are burning in New Brunswick with several out of control, but there is good news about one major fire. Details now from CTV's Nick Moore in Fredericton.
There are 35 active wildfires burning in New Brunswick tonight, and of that total, 6 are out of control, including the biggest of them all, the Oldfield Road fire burning near Miramichi. But there was an encouraging development around 9:30 this morning when that fire was deemed contained. It has already burned over 1,400 hectares.
It's been at some points doubling in size, and it felt like it was going to be nearly impossible to kind of pull it together.
Miramichi City Councillor Veronique Arsenault says people in the area are relieved but are not letting their guard down.
You know, contained is a fantastic change for sure, but I think under control and nearly out in the coming days and weeks are going to be what we're looking for.
Natural Resources Minister John Herron says over a dozen tractors and bulldozers built a firewall around the Oldfield Road fire.
It's in a good place right now, considering where it was even 24 hours ago.
Periods of rain over the weekend with no lightning, along with cooler temperatures, have been helpful as well. But Herron says it hasn't been nearly enough to lift the full provincial burn ban in effect.
If we had 2 to 5 days of sustained rain, something similar to what we saw yesterday, that could be immensely helpful. I think it would afford us some opportunities to be able to do things, perhaps at a minimum, on a regional or an area-specific basis.
Now, evacuation advisories from the weekend have been lifted, but EMO says anybody who is near an active wildfire tonight really should be paying attention because that could all change very quickly. Todd.
All right, Nick, thanks for that. From Fredericton this evening, let's go to CTV meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell. Kaylin, a bit of rain overnight. Nick mentioned it, not nearly enough to have the kind of impact we would like, though, on those fires.
No, I mean, we'll take any rain we can get at this point in time, but we need about like 6 rounds of rain like this within the next 2 weeks to really make some significant headway. There were some areas in the Maritimes that picked up some rainfall totals between around 15 and 25 millimeters, so that was nice to see, though not every location saw that much rain. There were areas that remained within the range of around 5 to 10 millimeters, so that's certainly lower than you would like. Possibly that 5 to 10 millimeter mark in around the southwest of Nova Scotia, the vicinity of that Annapolis County fire. Taking a look at current conditions for the start of this week in relation to wildfires. First of all, the chance of any more precipitation very low over the next several days. Next, higher chance of seeing some more widespread precipitation in the Maritimes. Looks like it'll be on Monday or maybe Sunday night into Monday, so that late Sunday, Monday time frame. So again, we're looking at several days out. And temperatures were a little bit cooler today, which is nice. Relative humidity, though, quite low. In most cases, it was only running between around 30 and 40%. Those northerly winds, they tend to be a little bit the drier side coming in off the continent. And speaking of the winds, those weren't ideal for today because they're a little bit too blustery. We have sustained winds still 15 to 30 kilometers per hour. We're getting wind gusts still reported in the range of 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. The gusty conditions are going to be diminishing as we move through tonight. Speaking of something that's happening for tonight, we're looking at relatively clear skies. Not a lot to see as far as the moon goes or planets during the nighttime hours, but very early tomorrow morning you can spot Jupiter and Venus and the moon all above the eastern horizon, the pre-dawn hours. There will also be a pass from the International Space Station from the south to southeast very early tomorrow morning, starting at 4:34 a.m. Todd.
Okay, we'll see you a little later in the show. Thank you, Colin. A Moncton man is accused of attempting to murder an RCMP officer, just one of several charges stemming from a recent incident. CTV's Derek Haggett joins us from downtown Moncton. He has the details. What happened, Derek?
Todd, a member of the Kodiak Regional RCMP, was stabbed at a home in North End Moncton last Thursday night. A 35-year-old man remains in custody. Police were called to a report of a disturbance and an assault between 2 people at a home on Fair Isle Drive just before midnight. According to a news release, RCMP tried to arrest one person at the home, but they resisted and a fight broke out. An altercation occurred. The accused then allegedly stabbed one of the Mounties several times in the head. Another officer used their taser twice, and the suspect was eventually subdued and arrested. The injured police officer was taken to hospital with severe but non-life-threatening injuries. The Mountie has since been released from hospital. Edva Mascari appeared in Moncton Provincial Court last Friday and is facing numerous charges besides attempted murder. Those include assaulting a peace officer with a weapon, resisting a peace officer, uttering threats, and assault. The accused was remanded into custody and is scheduled to return to court Friday. I reached out to the New Brunswick RCMP to see if anyone was available for an interview to provide more details, but was told it's an ongoing investigation and there'd be no further comment at this time. Now, I was also told that the Mountie is recovering and doing well. Todd.
Well, that's certainly good news. Thank you, Derek, at police headquarters in downtown Moncton. Relief that Air Canada planes would be taking off were grounded after flight attendants defied a back-to-work order. Passengers from the Maritimes are again scrambling to get where they need to be. CTV's Hafsa Arif reports.
Lines and long wait times at Air Canada counters filled with people, not to board a plane, but to get answers. Alice C. is one of them. Stranded far from home, she came with her niece from France for Halifax Fashion Week. Today, she learned her flight's been canceled.
The trip was Halifax, Montreal, this evening at 8 p.m. and then at 10 p.m. Montreal, Paris.
For Jamie Monroe and his son, they bought tickets for the Founders Cup game in Calgary, but their flight was also canceled. And getting a hold of someone over the phone next to impossible.
That's been a joke, honestly. You can make calls to them, but there's nobody answering the phone. They literally hang up on you, automated hang up.
Monroe then decided to go to the airport, but they wouldn't book them with any other airline.
I just wanted him to be there. He was the only one on his team that wasn't making the trek. So I paid $3,800 Canadian for 2 tickets one way with WestJet.
The Halifax Airport Authority confirms multiple flights have been canceled.
So there are approximately 30 daily flights, both arriving and departing, that have been canceled. That's to 4 specific destinations that are operated by Air Canada here, including Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and London Heathrow.
Some passengers who booked with other airlines say their flights were changed a number of times.
Say they couldn't give us a real reason as to why.
WestJet did share with us that they knew that this is going to be hitting them, their staff, and make it more challenging because of people changing their flights.
Todd, I've spoken with a few people here and they didn't want to appear on camera, but they say they're stranded. Hotels are full, car rentals are booked, and they have nowhere else to turn. Right now, they're just hoping that they can somehow return home as soon as possible. Todd?
Hafsa Arif at Halifax Stanfield International Airport. We're going to make this the CTV web poll this evening. We're asking you, how do you feel about Air Canada flight attendants defying a federal back-to-work order? And your options are, I agree with it, they should be allowed to strike, or I disagree with it, it's an illegal strike. And you can vote at ctvnews.atlantic.ca. Well, Air Canada may not be the only labour lockout in our region. Dalhousie University has issued a notice it plans to lock out faculty this week. Halifax University warned unless an agreement is reached, it will lock out full-time instructors, librarians, and counsellors Wednesday morning. Conciliation talks broke down last month without a collective agreement. Dalhousie has to find $75 million in cost savings over the next 3 years. Now, students are being told to arrive at campus for the fall term as they normally would. The price of food continues to rise. As a result, so does the rate of shoplifting. Tonight, we're hearing from one market owner in St. John who has had enough and is doing something about it. He spoke with our Avery McRae.
Low prices and local options bring all types of shoppers to Dan's Country Market in St. John's North End, including those who don't intend to pay.
We're really on top of them now, and we constantly have somebody on a monitor.
Owner Daniel Cullen says theft attempts have become a daily occurrence. The most recent example happened yesterday. Security footage posted to the store's Facebook page shows Cullen confronting a pair of people accused of stealing. A woman then begins taking packages of meat out of her bag before leaving empty-handed.
Surprisingly, it's never embarrassment, it's just defeat. Like, you got me. And there's no like, oh, sorry, man, like, I'm just hungry. We have a wall, and it's for the worst ones, but I could paint my walls with the pictures.
Cullen says police have been helpful with the theft issues, but notes there is little they can do to the offenders. That's why he does what he can for punishment, by posting videos to Facebook.
If you're going to steal from me, that's your consequence, right? Like, I'm going to charge you too, but you're going to get internet famous. That's your consequence, right? Everybody is going to know who you are.
Market regulars have a hard time understanding the idea of stealing from a local business.
I think it's hilarious that they're even trying, because none of them have made it. It's a small, tiny market, so it's a little not understood why. I mean, like Walmart, Canadian Tire, understood. This kind of place, I don't get it.
I get messages all the time like, hey, Dan, like, I'm glad you posted that video of them because they just tried to come into the store and we watched them and they tried to steal. So thanks for the heads up.
Not every shoplifter gets caught. And Cullen says when theft does happen, it takes a lot of extra sales to make up the difference. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Vehicles could be blocked from using another downtown Halifax street, but this time it has nothing to do with bike lanes. As CTV's Jonathan McGuinness explains, Haligonians are pretty accustomed to avoiding this street.
From April to November, this street sign greets people in Halifax's Bar District. The closure of Argal Street from Blowers to Prince has been a seasonal event for the last 10 years. The area councillor wants to make that permanent.
I think it'd be fantastic for the city.
Business owner John Witten says closing off streets to vehicle traffic is common in Europe, and making it a year-round practice here would work.
Really, nothing should change during the winter that we don't incorporate during the summer. And let's be honest, we're busier in the summer than we are in the winter. So if we and delivery companies can make it work in the summer, we can absolutely make it work in the winter.
Councillor Laura White initiated the motion asking the city's CAO to provide a report on what would go into shutting down Argal Street to cars and trucks. Andreas Forrester thinks the move would bring about a greater appreciation of the city for both residents and tourists.
Halifax is a beautiful city, and you want to emphasize the aesthetics that comes from being able to walk around its best places.
I think it's certainly something that we want to make a decision on.
The CEO of the Downtown Halifax Business Commission says there are lots of things to consider. It's not as simple as keeping the gates closed.
There's access issues. You lose a couple of parking spots, but not really very many. I think the big concern that people will have is how does this impact things like commuting and traffic congestion.
As it stands, Argal Street is scheduled to reopen to vehicle traffic on November 12th. And Todd, the motion asks that staff consult with business owners to get their input about the idea. Councillors will vote on whether or not to proceed with that staff report tomorrow. Todd.
Okay, we'll be there for that. John is on Argal Street in downtown Halifax this evening. Okay, time for our first break of the evening. Still to come. It's the middle of August, but get this, there's a risk of frost in New Brunswick tonight. Kaylin will have the details and the full forecast, but next, finding a road to peace.
We need to stop this war, to stop Russia.
Leaders of Ukraine and several European countries meet at the White House to find a solution. That's next. To Washington now in a crucial meeting of European leaders and President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. They met with U.S. President Donald Trump about his summit with Russia and efforts to negotiate peace in the war-torn country. NBC's Julie Sirkin has the latest.
At the White House, a show of solidarity. European leaders and the head of NATO joining Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in his latest meeting with President Trump.
Thank you very much for being here.
It's the next step as the president pushes for an end to Russia's war against Ukraine, now in its 4th year. The goal, getting Zelensky and President Vladimir Putin to meet face-to-face.
I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat, and I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
The high-stakes conversations follow Friday's unusual summit in Alaska, where the president rolled out the red carpet, literally, for Putin. But talks were cut short, and President Trump returned to Washington without a peace deal or a ceasefire agreement.
We're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today, and we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues.
And Ukraine is looking for security guarantees to prevent another Russian invasion in the future.
There'll be a lot of help. When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good.
Russia wants to keep the Ukrainian territory it occupied, about 20% of the country.
He's certainly asking for things that the Ukrainians and others are not willing to be supportive of, and that we're not going to push them to give.
President Trump has signaled Ukraine might have to concede some regions to Russia, something Zelensky may not agree to, but saying today.
We need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners. We will do our best for this.
It was Zelensky's first visit to the White House since February's contentious Oval Office meeting.
You don't have the cards right now.
Now, both sides hoping for a smoother relationship, which leads to peace. And during that meeting with President Trump, President Zelensky passed along a letter from his wife to Melania Trump. You'll remember it comes after President Trump hand-delivered a letter from the First Lady to Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday, urging him to end the war because of the children being affected by it. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
After 6:30, we'll speak with the president of the Halifax Security Forum about today's White House meeting, and there's more on the war in Ukraine at our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Still to come tonight, a mostly sunny, mild summer day tomorrow. A beautiful day to enjoy the cool breeze at the public gardens in Halifax, perhaps. Kaylin will have the full forecast after this break. 18 degrees as we look at the commute in Fredericton right now under blue skies. We bring in CTV meteorologist Caleb Mitchell. There was two things on the weekend that people really seemed to want to talk about. One was wildfires.
Yes.
And the other was Hurricane Aaron.
Right,
Boy,
which had some...
This one's putting on a show.
Yeah, it had some wild fluctuations in intensity over the weekend. At one point getting up to a Category 5 hurricane. Now maintains as a Category 4. Maximum sustained winds near the center of the storm, near 220 kilometers per hour. It's moving up towards the northwest. It's going to go on a path that we refer to as a recurve. And basically what that means is it's going to start with a northward turn. As it moves up towards the northern latitudes, it gets caught up in basically the steering flows in the atmosphere up in our neck of the woods that like to move weather systems from the west off towards the east. So a recurve takes it north first and then takes it off towards the east. Now it looks like it's going to be a pretty sharp recurve with this weather system coming up in between Bermuda and the eastern seaboard of the United States. And then you can see that eastward turn, and so far it looks like the path will take it east of the Maritimes, even outside of Sable Island, which really means that we're not expecting at this time any sort of on-land weather impacts from this system as it moves past. So there may be some concerns for the outermost marine areas, because there's certainly potential there that they could get into maybe some tropical storm force or potentially even hurricane force winds. So any of the marine interests really going to have to monitor the forecast, watch for the expected conditions to be out in those marine areas. As far as the actual on-land areas go in the Maritimes, an increase in some wave action is expected at the end of this week, especially as we move into Friday and maintaining into Saturday before diminishment in those waves around parts, especially around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia on Sunday or even late Sunday into Monday. The other thing that could accompany that increase in wave action, so the size and frequency of the waves, is the potential for rip currents. So some extra caution might need to be taken around coastal areas, beaches, for example, especially around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia at the end of this week and through at least the first part of the weekend. Weather conditions for tonight around the region still have a chance of some showers this evening for Cape Breton. During the overnight, it's going to be mainly clear and a bit of a brisk summer night around the region. Frost advisories out for the northwestern corner of New Brunswick. It's going to be sunny for tomorrow, but like today, the high temperatures on the milder side, mostly around the high teens and low 20s. There'll be a few clouds around as we move through Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. Winds were blustery today and out of the north. The wind gusts are diminishing as we move through tonight. Tomorrow's winds mostly out of the northwest, but we'll still have some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour, especially around Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including locations in Cape Breton. A lot of low temperatures tonight will fall into the range around the high single digits and low teens. Up in the northwestern corner of New Brunswick, though, some low temperatures could be as cool as between 1 and 3 degrees. At risk of that patchy frost at lower elevations, those frost advisories in effect. Highs for tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick between 19 and 22, with central and southern parts of the province with high temperatures of 20 to 23 degrees. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow, most of the high temperatures will be around the high teens. Maybe a couple of communities squeak out 20, but that should be about it. Cape Breton for tomorrow with high temperatures between 18 and 21, and mostly between 20 and 22 for the North Shore and the Eastern Shore. Northern and central areas of Nova Scotia with high temperatures between 20 and 22 degrees. The Annapolis Valley for tomorrow with highs of around 21. And on the South Shore of Nova Scotia, the high temperatures expected to be between 19 and 22. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick, you can see temperatures, they remain around seasonable as we work our way through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And this time of the year, it's mostly high temperatures around the low to mid-20s. Aaron passing offshore that sort of Friday, Saturday time frame. Temperatures warm up a couple of degrees for the weekend. Next chance of showers looks like it's going to be late Sunday and Monday, with the higher shower chances on Monday itself. Nova Scotia in the forecast, looking at generally dry conditions over the next several days. Mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Looking sunny for the start of the weekend on Saturday. High temperatures up to around the mid-20s, except cooler on parts of the coast. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud, and after that, a chance of showers on Monday. And for Prince Edward Island, coming up on Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, highs near 21. 19 again on Thursday with a mix of sun and cloud, back up to 21 on Friday. Sunshine in the forecast for the start of the weekend on Saturday, high near 23 up to 26 on Sunday, and then we've got that higher chance of some showers on Monday of next week, Todd.
Boy, those lows, 2, 3, 4, that'll come as a shock to the system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, after the weather we've had. Okay, thank you. We will see you at the end of the show. Next, we'll talk about that crucial meeting in Washington about the future of Ukraine, and we have this story on the scene.
I'm Katie Kelly. Coming up, country music takes over Dieppe this weekend with Kane Brown, Jelly Roll, Luke Bryan, and Chase Rice. Tonight, we're talking YQM Country Fest. Please join us on The Scene.
Welcome back. We want to delve a little deeper into today's crucial meetings at the White House involving different players involved in the war in Ukraine. To help us make sense of some of this, Peter Von Prague is president of the Halifax Security Forum. The event, of course, attracts defense leaders and politicians every fall in the city, and he joins us from his Washington office. It's nice to see you, Peter.
Hi, Todd. Thank you for having me back on. It's great to be back with you. I do want to let you know we've all been thinking of you in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia with these forest fires, and we're really wishing for the best possible outcome.
Thank you very much. That's very kind. When you look at these meetings today, I guess the upside is it didn't dissolve into a shouting match between President Trump and President Zelensky in the Oval Office, so that's a good thing. But as these meetings go on with the European leaders, should we expect, what should our expectations be to come out of this today?
Well, first of all, the fact that you're even mentioning that there wasn't a shouting match just suggests that at the low bar of where we are. I'm really afraid that the meeting held in Alaska on Friday set the wrong tone for the rest of the potential what could go on. I just want to remind everybody that what happens next in Ukraine is going to be up to the Ukrainians. Mr. Trump has put himself in the middle of this, and he has welcomed Mr. Zelensky to Washington, which I think is very good. And as you noted, a number of very significant European leaders came to accompany President Zelensky. But no, there will not be a deal today. From my understanding of what's happening is that Mr. Putin, the leader of Russia, has made no concessions.
The European leaders have added so much more support to Ukraine. Do they have a greater role to play in all of this? It certainly seems like President Trump welcomed their input, but that this is his show.
This is not his show. The United States, of course, is the United States. Even with President Trump leading it, it is the strongest single country in the world. That continues to be true. But what's really important to remember is what's at stake, and that is our shared security in North America and in Europe. And the Europeans are not going to just allow these deals to be done between President Trump and President Putin. And so that is a very strong message that they are in Washington, just half mile from where I'm sitting now, to tell President Trump not to lose the strong focus and commitment to democracy that the United States has had really since December 7th, 1941, when it was attacked by Pearl Harbor. We're marking the end of the 80th anniversary of World War II this year, Todd, as you know. And since that time, the United States has been steadfast in its support for democracies around the world. And that has to continue now, and that is the message that is being conveyed. We don't know exactly what Mr. Trump's reaction to that message is going to be, but it's very important that that's what's happening today in Washington.
Would you expect that President Zelensky and President Putin will sit face to face? This is what President Trump said he's hoping.
Yeah, this is what President Trump wants. President Trump wants a lot of things, including a Nobel Peace Prize. And I really think it's really important, again, that the message is that Ukrainian security comes first, followed by European security, followed by potentially a meeting. But I don't think there's going to be any meeting anytime soon between Mr. Putin and Mr. Zelensky. And I would just say, if I'm wrong and there is a meeting, we should be very, very worried about that situation if that's what comes to pass. And that certainly is, I think Mr. Trump has now, or his people have now said that they're looking to have Mr. Putin and Mr. Zelensky in the same room in the next week. I don't think that will happen. and it absolutely should not happen.
Let me sidestep for a moment, Peter. A week ago, the Pentagon revealed it wouldn't participate in this year's event. What's the rationale behind that?
Well, I don't know what the rationale is. What they've said is that they don't want to participate in events, but they called out Halifax International Security Forum specifically by name that don't share the same values as the Trump administration. And Halifax International Security Forum, Todd, as you know and as your viewers know, has been host to Ukrainian war heroes, Taiwanese Democrats, Iranian dissidents, and bipartisan American leaders for 17 years. So if that's not in line with with this government's values, then something has gone very, very wrong. And so this is not a demonstration of American strength. This is a demonstration of American weakness. And we have invited them, and we certainly hope that that folks from the Pentagon come. We still have and we're confident, frankly, that this decision will be reversed. In any case, we will have very, very strong participation from the United States, from members of Congress, both Democrat and Republican, and from other leaders. And in fact, Todd, the Halifax International Security Forum, the ticket to get in is it's a hard ticket. People are knocking on our door. They really want to participate, especially this year when there's so much going on.
And it's not just for those sessions. It's, as we've heard so many times before, the work that gets done in the side conversations, because Halifax is a place where that can be done away from the spotlight, perhaps, and there's more freedom for those conversations.
I'd say really there's 5 reasons to come. Number 1 is to project ideas forward. Number 2 is to test those ideas, because, an idea actually should be tested before it's implemented. Number 3 is to hear others' ideas. And number 4, as you say, is to have personal meetings with leaders, with counterparts, with civil society, with writers, with opinion makers who otherwise they wouldn't have an opportunity to meet with. And the 5th is really leadership. Showing up at places really demonstrates a commitment to the allies, to Canada, and we do hope that the United States Department of Defense is with us in November.
Peter, it's always good to speak with you. Thank you for your time on such an important day. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd, for making time for me. I look forward to seeing you soon.
We will certainly hope to see you here in the fall. We'll take a time out. We'll be right back with much more of your newscast. In our nightly look at health and medical news, a growing number of Canadians who've never smoked are being diagnosed with lung cancer, and many of them are women. CTV's Jesse Thomas has that and more in tonight's edition of The Lifeline.
While smoking is still the leading risk factor for lung cancer, doctors are warning of other dangers. The Canadian Cancer Society says about 1 in 4 lung cancer cases are now in people who have never, ever smoked.
Experts point to environmental risks like radon gas, secondhand smoke, asbestos, and air pollution, with wildfire smoke adding concerns. Symptoms can be subtle, and by the time non-smokers are diagnosed, the cancer is usually at an advanced stage. They stress anyone with a persistent cough lasting more than a few weeks should get it checked. And in other news, new numbers suggest drinking alcohol is not as popular as it used to be. A Gallup survey found 53% of Americans believe moderate drinking, defined as 1 or 2 drinks per day, is bad for your health. Alcohol consumption surged during the pandemic but has since declined across all age groups, with the biggest decline among adults 35 to 54. Canada now leads the Americas in measles cases. The Pan American Health Organization says more than 10,000 cases have been confirmed across 10 countries so far this year. Canada leads with over 4,500 infections, most in Alberta, BC, Manitoba, and Ontario. Health officials blame low vaccination rates as driving the surge. With your health and medical news, I'm Jesse Thomas reporting for The Lifeline.
Time for The Scene with Katie Kelly, and you were seen on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia last week on holiday, but still working it, going to festivals.
Well, I still found my way to a festival, Todd. So I just really want to give a big shout out to everyone who was involved in the 50th anniversary of the Seaside Festival in Sheet Harbor. It was just a beautiful week of, there's like, you should have saw the page of all the events they had on every day. Stuff for kids, stuff for adults, stuff for everyone. And the annual beer garden, of course, that they do every year. And they brought back their English tea that they hadn't done in a long time. Lots of really kind of special things, and it was just a big celebration, 50 years, and they just really outdid themselves. So I just want to give everybody that, because there's a lot of volunteers, a big shout out down in Sheet Harbor.
That's a good point. Every community in the Maritimes, if you're looking for something to do on the weekend, there's always something going on. They're always a lot of fun, and people work really hard to put them on.
They do.
Speaking of that, you're heading to a biggie in a few days' time.
I am. So I'm going back to New Brunswick. Some of the biggest names in country music are headed to Dieppe. And yes, I'll be right there with them.
Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me.
Some of the biggest names in country music are coming to Atlantic Canada. YQM Country Fest is taking over Dieppe this weekend.
Hey y'all, it's Kane Brown. New Brunswick, it's Luke Bryan here, and I cannot wait to come party with y'all.
What's up, Atlantic Canada? It's your boy Jelly Roll here.
And joining that massive lineup, country star Chase Rice.
No matter where we go, no matter what we do, if you're there, girl, I've got my eyes on you.
Before making it big in country music, he's had an unlikely path, from playing football to NASCAR and even a stint on Survivor. But it's music that's given him the biggest rush, and this summer, he's been on the road non-stop.
Crazy. Yeah, we probably 40 plus shows in right now. We got another 30, 40 to go. So we've got a lot going on right now. And then on top of that, the album's coming. So we're preparing for that. It's been a crazy year, but I'm exhausted, but it's a good exhaustion.
Rice's new album, Aldora, drops September 19th, on his birthday. He calls it a creative reset.
We did it here in my upstairs room in Nashville, and it was all one takes. It was just me and a guitar, or Wyatt and a guitar, or somebody and a guitar, and singing into two microphones, and this is it. And then we'd add on the band the next day, and that was the process.
Harold Mabernese, circa 1943.
It's an album built on stories, from tributes to his grandparents to songs inspired by small-town life.
John Prine, I saw an interview with him that said, we're not writing about fads, we're writing about people. And that's what this album is.
Fans at YQM will get a taste of that new music, mixed with some of his biggest hits.
Sitting here, drinking beer, talking God, amen.
We have a good time. Yeah, I like to have fun. I do play some of the hits to honor the last 10 years of my life, so we'll be doing that for sure.
Rice is looking forward to returning to the East Coast for the first time in years.
I particularly love going up to Canada because there's just so many different things that I haven't seen, so that's just been part of my life, and traveling and seeing the world as much as I can with my dog while I can do it.
And he's no stranger to sharing the stage with Jelly Roll, who headlines Friday night.
Yeah, we toured with him 2 years ago. We'd always get up and sing Simple Man together. Maybe we'll do it again on Friday. Who knows? I haven't talked to him, but it should be a fun show.
Chase Rice takes the stage Friday night at YQM Country Fest in Dieppe, sharing the weekend bill with Kane Brown, Jelly Roll, and Luke Bryan.
Is that his house?
Yeah, I was chatting with him at his house, yeah.
I gotta get into country music.
I know, his house is beautiful. Okay, I have to tell you something funny. His phone kind of fell, and I was like, what is that? He was using a very interesting something as a tripod.
Okay.
The most country thing I've ever seen. So you have to go on my Instagram. I posted a little behind the scenes video. It's hilarious.
On your Instagram account?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to be fun.
Yes, so I'm leaving Thursday morning, and I'll be live on 5 and 6 Thursday night and Friday night from Dieppe. I'm so excited. I'm going to be chatting with all kinds of the stars and give you a really cool behind-the-scenes look. So I'm really excited. This is year 4, which is unbelievable.
Okay, so if you're going to the concert, run up and say hi to Katie. Thank you.
Oh, they will. I know they will.
See you tomorrow night. Here's what's on CTV tonight. Our market report is back. The Dow opened the trading week flat. The number of Air Canada flights, as we mentioned, being canceled is growing. So is the cost of the strike. Here's BNN's Morella Fernandez.
Analysts are crunching the numbers and estimate the strike could cost Air Canada $200 million, even if the action ends this week. That estimate coming from Canaccord Genuity. The strike has led Air Canada to suspend its financial forecast for 2025. The company had predicted it would make between $3.2 and $3.6 billion in 2025. Now, shares in Air Canada dropped today by almost 3%. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is slightly up today to 72.44. West Texas Intermediate moved up to 63.42. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down to 50.33. And not a lot of movement on the TSX. It dropped 17 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
All right, Kayla Mitchell's on the weather deck with one more look at the forecast. Kayla?
Yeah, thank you, Todd. It's a fresh feeling evening out here on the deck. Let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. It's a great one. Features a bit of a close-up shot. Monarch butterfly. This was sent in by Carolyn Bedford from Gasboro Forks, New Brunswick. I want to thank Carolyn very much for taking the time. Share that picture with us. The Gasboro Forks area for tomorrow. Cool start to the day. The afternoon sunny. High temperature near 22 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow. Starting off the morning, early morning, with a lot of temperatures in the high single digits and low teens. Don't forget there is a frost advisory out for the northwestern corner of New Brunswick tonight, where at some of the lower elevations, temperatures could get as cool as between 1 and 3 degrees. Now, it is high pressure in place tomorrow, so moving into the afternoon, it remains mostly sunny. There will be some thin, broken high cloud cover, but we're not going to be getting any precipitation out of that. High temperatures tomorrow, just a little bit below seasonable for this time of the year. They're mostly expected to be in the high teens and low 20s, range for around 19 to 23 degrees. Winds will be out of the northwest, sustained 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. A few gusts between 20 and 40. Todd.
Okay, Galen, you have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. And finally for us this evening, Uptown St. John's served as the backdrop to the Street Side Third Shift Arts Festival this past weekend, and we get a tour courtesy our Nick Moore.
A walk around Uptown St. John on Saturday night would have taken you in and out of multiple art shows, from live performances to mixed media sculptures. They all belonged at Third Shift, back for an 11th year.
Because we occupy a lot of outdoor and unique spaces, it means that a lot of people stumble into our festival and then they get to learn about it and then they get hooked and they want to see more.
It's people out, meeting other people, chatting.
I think it's interesting that they can take a concept or an idea and then what they do with it.
The theme for this year was Revolve.
Revolutions, cycles, things that are always changing, such as, planets or St. John architecture or growing up and leaving things behind and finding new things in adulthood.
The Warped Weavers of Karen LeBlanc and Ronnie Stanley embraced the theme that fibers revolve together, weaving communities together.
We wanted to come up with a way that people could come and do a community engagement process.
They don't need fancy tools, that anyone can do it, you just have to want to. And so people are coming in.
There were a total of 19 art installations and non-traditional spaces around the city's core, all part of a 3-day festival organized by the Third Space Gallery.
Like the festival and like the people who find it, we kind of jump from venue to venue. We don't necessarily have a home of our own, but we appreciate the spaces that volunteer to us, and I feel like that's what makes Third Shift also special, is that it's open to everyone.
Bringing contemporary art out of the gallery and on to the street. Nick Moore, CTV News, St. John.
Thank you, Nick. And that is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco has our next newscast at 11:30 after CTV National, and ctvnewsatlantic.ca is always updating our reporting. Thanks for watching. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 news.